The house is finally quiet. The demands of the day have receded into the shadows, and you are lying in the safety of your own bed. The blankets are heavy and warm. You are ready to drift into sleep, seeking the rest you deeply need. But then, without warning, it happens. A memory forces its way through the silence. It is not a memory of a triumph or a moment of peace. It is a sharp, stinging recollection of something you said 5 years ago. Perhaps it was a joke that no one laughed at. Maybe you waved at someone who was waving at the person behind you. Or perhaps it was a clumsy answer in an interview for a job you did not get. Your eyes snap open. A wave of heat rushes through your chest. You physically wince, turning over in the sheets as if the movement could shake the memory loose. You feel a fresh spike of shame, as potent and visceral as the moment the event actually occurred. It does not matter that it happened in a different decade. It does not matter that you are a different person now. In the dark of your room, the embarrassment feels immediate and unresolved. You ask yourself a harsh question. Why does my brain do this? Why can I not simply let go of these small, insignificant errors? You might believe that this nightly torment is proof that there is something wrong with you. You might think it is evidence that you are socially awkward or fundamentally flawed. But I want to offer you a different perspective. This experience is not a sign of brokenness. It is a very specific, albeit outdated, function of your survival system. You are not under attack by your own mind. You are experiencing a misplaced attempt at protection. To understand this, we must look at the part of you that keeps these records. Let us call it the archive of social errors. Deep within the architecture of your brain, there is a mechanism designed to ensure your safety within the tribe. For our ancient ancestors, being part of the group was not just about happiness, it was about survival. To be rejected, to be mocked, or to be cast out meant death. Therefore, the brain developed a high sensitivity to any behavior that might threaten your standing in the community. When you replay that awkward comment from 2015, your brain is reviewing the game tape. It is analyzing the mistake with the intensity of a forensic scientist. It is trying to solve the problem of the past to ensure that you never make that specific error again. It believes that by making you feel the shame now, it is inoculating you against future rejection. It is a primitive security guard, holding up a file from years ago and shouting that this is a threat to your existence. It does not understand that the threat has long passed. This mechanism, while well-intentioned, often becomes a heavy burden in the modern world. We interact with hundreds of people. We navigate complex social nuances every day. If we hoard every minor slip-up in this archive, we become paralyzed. You might find yourself becoming quieter in conversations, terrified of adding a new entry to the file. You might avoid new connections because the risk of awkwardness feels too high. The cost of this protection is your spontaneity. You trade your freedom for a guarantee of safety that you do not actually need. There is a profound illusion at the center of this experience. When we look back at these moments, we see them through a distorted lens. In your memory, you are standing on a stage with a spotlight burning into your eyes. You imagine that everyone else in the room was studying your mistake, memorizing it, and carrying it with them for years. We project our own internal fixation onto the minds of others. We assume we are the main character in their story, just as we are in ours. However, the reality is far more liberating. Think about the last time a friend or colleague did something slightly awkward. Maybe they spilled a drink or mispronounced a word. Do you lie awake at night thinking about their mistake? Do you judge them for it years later? Almost certainly not. You likely forgot it within minutes. Humans are inherently self-obsessed creatures. Everyone around you is too busy editing their own internal movie to pay much attention to your blooper reel. They are not remembering your awkward pause, they are worrying about their own. This realization allows us to shift our relationship with the past. We can begin to see these memories not as evidence of our inadequacy, but as ghosts that have lost their power to haunt us. The next time the archive opens at 3 a.m., try to catch the process in action. Notice the physical sensation of the cringe. Notice the heat. But instead of fighting it or spiraling into self-judgment, pause. Recognize who is speaking. It is not the voice of truth. It is the voice of that ancient, fearful protector. You can offer a gentle response to this part of yourself. You might say, internally, "Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you are trying to prevent rejection, but that moment is over. I am safe now. I am not in exile." Treat this part of your mind like a worried child who is scared of a monster that does not exist. You do not need to be angry at the child. You simply need to reassure them that the danger has passed. Consider the possibility that your awkwardness is actually a side effect of your courage. If you never said the wrong thing, it would mean you never spoke up. If you never had an awkward interaction, it would mean you never risked connection. A perfectly smooth social record is usually the sign of a life lived in hiding. The fact that you have these moments means you were out in the world, trying, engaging, and being human. The errors are not scars of shame. They are receipts of your participation in life. You can also practice a small act of self-compassion through writing. If a specific memory keeps returning, take it out of your head and put it onto paper. Write down exactly what happened. Then, write down what you are afraid it means about you. Finally, write down what a kind, wise stranger would say about that moment. You will likely find that the event is much smaller on paper than it feels in the dark. You are externalizing the data so your brain no longer feels the need to loop it. There is a softness available to you when you stop trying to be perfect. You can begin to laugh at these moments instead of fearing them. You can see them as part of the shared, messy human experience. Everyone you admire, everyone you think is poised and perfect, has their own archive. They have their own 3 a.m. moments. You are connected to them not by your perfection, but by your shared vulnerability. Tonight, when the house is quiet and the thoughts begin to drift toward the past, try to anchor yourself in the present. Feel the weight of the blanket. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. Remind yourself that you are not back there, in that room, in that year. You are here. You have survived every awkward moment you have ever had. You have grown. You have changed. The version of you that made that mistake has already learned the lesson. What if you decided that you have punished yourself enough? What if the sentence has been served? How would it feel to simply close the file, turn off the light in the archive, and let yourself rest? You are allowed to let the past remain in the past. You are allowed to sleep.